back to the channel. On the last episode, we got this side of the bed up, and on this episode, we were supposed to start working on getting this side finished up and everything tied off between the two. But instead, we're gonna work on something else. I have purchased a set of very good condition Ohlins TTX36 coilovers for this truck. So originally, this truck was not going to get these coilovers, but I got an extremely good deal on these. These are a very expensive coilover that is way above what I was expecting to buy. But I was able to purchase these for basically what a cheap set of like AFCOs would cost. So these guys are definitely going on this truck. They came off a Trans Am TA2 car, which if you know anything about, solid axle 3-link setup race car. It was a winning car, and these are going to be perfect for this truck build. That being said, they're not the right size. Originally, when we were designing the truck, we designed it around a 14-inch coilover, which is a pretty small coilover package. These are 21 inches extended. So we're gonna start reworking on and replacing these mounts that we have, and we're gonna build a bar and get these guys set in. And I'm tickled pink that I have a set of 4 of these guys and they're going on this truck. So it's gonna take it up a level. So let's get started. Okay, so in theory, the dimensions and what we're gonna do here are pretty much the same, but due to this being taller, I'm gonna take this arm, make a taller version of it. It's now got a lot of moment arm where it had a decent amount of moment arm before, but now it's too much. So what we're gonna do is these guys are gonna get taller. They're also going to get boxed, and then there's going to be a crossbar that goes across, and that's okay because we're gonna use that to build our radiator shelf that goes back here for the rear mount radiator. Also, it used to be 5/8 pin. It's now going to be a 1/2-inch pin. So we need to get rid of this, and I'm going to take the rear out and bush this, which I'm okay with because these were plasma cut holes and they're a little sloppier than what I want. So I'm going to weld in some bushings, machine bushings, and then that will get us a nice tight fit down there. And so we're gonna go ahead and get started on this. I have the design made up in Fusion 360. I did an FEA on it. It is plenty strong. Probably a little overkill, but I'm okay with that. And we're gonna go over to the plasma table and get cutting. Okay guys, so I have some material here. This is just 1.25 inch bar stock that I cut down. I'm gonna turn those to a fixed length. And then I went ahead and got a plasma cutter out and cut all these plates out, soaked them in vinegar. That's why they got a little bit of rust, but the scales come off. And working on getting these cleaned up, I started to weld these out, and I got a reinforcement bracket here. And then on this side, there will be that bar stock that I turn. That's gonna act as sort of a support, sorry, point the camera, a support in this region so that when I put the bolt through it, that's not all stressed on just this little 1/8 inch plate. It has some bearing surface there. And then, so I'm gonna go ahead and start welding these out a little bit, take my time, get them all cleaned up decent, and we'll move on, get the lathe fired up, trim those up, and weld those on. And then we should be ready to drill some holes. All right, so we got one welded up here. Got the back strap on. I put a little reinforcement bracing here. All that is good to go. So now I'm gonna go ahead, get started on the next guy, and we'll get this one matched up and mirrored out. So gonna go get welding on that guy. Okay guys, so we got 1 and 2 of these all done. Now what I need to do, I need to drill and remount the mounting holes back here. And then I also need to ream that guy out. So I'm waiting on a reamer for that right now. After that, we're gonna pull this all back apart, and I need to change the width of this because I screwed up. For some reason, I miscalculated. I thought this was 1/8 inch material, and it is not. It is 3/16. So I am an 1/8 short on width. So what I'm going to do is cut one of these off and then move it over. Not a big deal. It's pretty easy, and there's plenty of material there, so I'm not worried about, you know, hurting the joint at all. So I'm gonna get those off, but first I'm gonna get this guy on the drill press and reamed out nice and true. Okay, so I got the mounts all up there, got the holes all nice and reamed out. I used got a reamer, and you're not really supposed to use a drill press, but it worked fine. So these are nice, tight, clean holes, all lined, perfect. And then I got this guy in the mail, It's like 45 bucks, cheap Chinese tool. I'm sure it's junk, probably gonna die in like under half a year. But it's a little chamfering tool. If you look at it, it's like a router with a bearing. You can just go in there and get a nice little chamfer. And it's adjustable, so you can use it like just light deburring and probably lasts a lot longer, or you can be aggressive like me and use it on this with a pretty big chamfer on steel. They say it's only supposed to be for aluminum, but you know, whatever. Hasn't died yet. So what I'm gonna do next, I got these sort of torqued up here just lightly because I don't have the spacers in, because remember we need to adjust the spacing on these. And then what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get my chromoly crossbar measured and get that ready to go and cut it and get it tacked in. Okay, so I have that all tacked up. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these brackets off. Actually, I'm gonna call both of these because I noticed it looked a little canted in the video if you look back. And the reason it's canted looking is because these are shifted back a touch, which was an error that I made before, but it didn't really matter the way that the shocks were set. They were equal and opposite. So now with the bar going across, can't have that. So I'm going to move these up about 3/8 of an inch forward, and then we'll use the laser to make sure that we're were true across the truck. And then before we place these up and down, I'll use the radial, this horizontal one, to set the hole positions and make sure they're dead level across. So gonna work on that, and but overall, yeah, it's looking pretty good. So gonna get cutting now. Okay, so got the tabs cut off. I cut both sides off this. Got the bar leveled all the way across, checked the hole positions relative to each other off the mounts, and everything looks good. It's also good this direction. I busted out the laser, checked it, looks good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead now, tack it up, and we'll burn it solid. There it should be. So I got both sides welded up, bushings are in, so now we'll just drop the rear back into the truck. All right, guys, there you go. I got the sleeves on and I got the rear back in. Here you can see the sleeves, how they're welded up down there. And I actually call them bushings. They're bushings. And when we push the coil over all the way back, we just have enough room for the spring pocket. So that's going to work. Up here, we're good. I probably have about a 1/16 of an inch spacer I need to add in there to tighten that up. But yeah, this is looking great. So that's going to be the rear suspension pretty much, other than just adding springs and some sensors. I'm pretty happy with that. So we're going to leave this episode off here. This is going to wrap this section up. I do need to do the front coilovers. That's going to be a little bit more intensive surgery. The A-arms have to come out and get the lower buckets remade, but nothing too crazy. Overall, this was not hard to do, just a little time consuming because I've been tied up with other stuff. So we're going to wrap this up here. While I am off, not making any more episodes, I'm going to get the other bedside up and onto the truck. So I'll show you what needs to be done on that guy. If you remember the previous episodes, when I picked this bed up, it was sitting at the junkyard and they crushed this corner. So I have a patch panel down here. I'm going to work this weekend on cutting that section out and welding it in. Then basically repeating the process that you saw in the last episode where we did the bed mounts on this and get it mounted up into the truck. So at that point, it should look like a truck, like for real. So I'm going to go ahead, keep working through that effort, get the other bedside on, and then we will walk through the process of what needs done next. I will leave you out of the loop on some of the potential things it could be, because some of them are pretty cool and I'd like to get them a little bit further along before I spill the beans. But until next time, like and subscribe, share with your buddies, show them the project if you think this is cool, which I don't know how you can't, even if you don't like trucks. I mean, come on, like, it's pretty sweet. So like and subscribe, share with your buddies, and have a good one.